Call this Transportation Committee hearing to order. This is the Thursday, April 10th, 2025 meeting of the Transportation Committee. The time is 5:56 p.m. We are in room 1100 of the Minnesota Senate building. Members and to the public, our business today is to finish the markup of Senate File 2082. The Omnibus bill for transportation. Oh, I should mention that in accordance with the rules of the Senate, the following member will be participating remotely in today's hearing. Senator Carlson from Eagan. A quorum is present. Members, we're going to start with, we're going to have our lead, Senator Jasinski, start offering a series of amendments. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for this year's Transportation Committee. A lot of bills heard by our party, which is very nice to see that you let us get some of our bills in and get hearings on them. That is important. I want to thank you. This is a pretty decent bill. We're pretty happy with it. There's a few clunkers in there, but overall, pretty happy with it. So some things that I just a couple highlights, and I'll go into my amendments. Very happy that you took the responsible route of taking the $194.5 million out of the NLX. I believe that's best use of money by taking that. I know it was reduced a little bit, but that's one thing. Also, thank you for putting the autonomous mowers in there. I think that's going to be a great project to see how that works. Taking the State Patrol headquarters, although I support that very, very much, taking out of trunk highway funds, I believe is a leakage, and I'm concerned with that dollar amount coming out of trunk highway funds that are going to our roads and bridges. Also, thank you for the $18.7 million that's included for the State Trooper helicopter and the aircraft, updating those. I'm also thanking for the no-fee transactions for the deputy registers. That's a good thing we've been working on all year as well. I'm a little concerned about taking the money out of HUTDF for the $83.5 million by delaying the auto parts sales tax. A little bit concerned about that. It is statutory dedicated, and once we tap into that, I think that sets a bad precedent of taking that money out of there. That's something that was going to go and increase money for roads and bridges, so a little concerned about that one. Thank you for the increase in the quarters of commerce from $50 million to $60 million per biennium. We like that. Also thanking for the added no-show fee increase for the driver exam. I think that's something that's important that will help DVS not get those people not showing up, and that'll increase some of their fees they'll get. Reallocating the efficiencies from MnDOT, the 15% towards quarters of commerce, I think is a huge thing. It's a game changer for quarters of commerce. That's roughly about $90 million per year based on my calculations. So with those, I want to thank you, and thank you for working with our senators here. So with that, I'm going to start with a couple friendly amendments. I hope they're friendly. I'd first like to offer the A12 amendment.
Senator Jasinski offers the A12. I think the system that we're using today, everything I believe is posted, but if it isn't yet in your packet, it'll come around from the pages, and go ahead and describe the A12 while that happens.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a bill from Senator Miller, Senate File 2602. This was actually heard in the House floor today. I think it got approved or passed. This is a dedicated Memorial Highway. Officer Jason Brent Meyer was killed in a single-car car crash while responding to a call for assistance from a deputy in a neighboring agency. Officer Meyer lost control of his cruiser while rounding a corner from Minnesota Highway 16 onto U.S. Highway 63, striking a utility pole while skidding sideways. Officer Meyer had been with the agency for 6 months as a part-time officer and is survived by his wife. So with that, I'd like to see if we could pass the A12.
Great. Thank you, Senator Jasinski. Questions, members? All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one I'd like to offer is the A20 amendment.
Senator Jasinski offers the A20. And Senator Jasinski, you can go ahead and start describing it.
This is a bill that I had up on the Department of Transportation cost participation policy update. I've worked with MnDOT getting language that's acceptable to both sides. They're basically in the middle of a process right now going through that to update their cost participation policy. That is supposed to be done in March of 1st of 2026. So we've agreed to delay that until that time, and I believe it's a friendly amendment.
Great. Thank you, Senator Jasinski, and appreciate your working with the department on this kind of modified version of the proposal. We had a good discussion in committee earlier on this idea, and I'm very, very supportive, and I think all of our members are. Questions, members, on the A20? All right. Okay. And I've been asked to slow down so our virtual members can vote. Thank you for that advice, members. So I will now go for a vote. All in favor of the A20, please say aye.
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 All right. And the motion passes, and I'll mention that in accordance with the rules of the Senate, the following member will be participating as well remotely in today's hearing, Senator Pah from Brooklyn Park. All right. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. These are two amendments. The next two amendments are based on a highway project, US Highway 8, Chisago County, that was allocated previously, one in the transportation bill for $42 million. That money is scheduled to expire, so we would just a technical amendment to extend that money to December 31st of 2029. And this is on the transportation side for $42 million. And with that, I ask for a positive vote.
Thank you. I think we have two amendments on this subject.
Yeah, that's the A22. The next one will be the A36. So
yeah, so if the pages could bring both the A22 and the A36, but right now we're voting on the A22. Questions, members? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 And those opposed? All right, the A36 or the A22 passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next one would be the A36. This also is Chisago County's US Highway 8 reconstruction. This is on the bonding bill side. We just want to put this into the Omnibus transportation bill to make sure this money doesn't expire as well. This will make the money available until December 31st of 2029, and this is an $8 million appropriation from a bonding bill in previous years.
Great, thank you for that. So, any questions, member, on the A36? Seeing none, all in favor of the A36, please say aye.
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 All right, all those opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This will be my last amendment. This is the A9 amendment.
Senator Jasinski offers the A9 amendment.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. This, what this bill is fairly simple. It just says an outstate temporary vehicle permit from a non-resident. The temporary vehicle permit will be extended from 31 days to 60 days just to get that permit ready to go, so they're not expiring. So it's just an efficiency and technically a technical fix. So I would ask for your support on the A9.
All right, thank you for that. I would ask for questions on the A9. All right, all in favor of the A9, please say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, Senator Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think I'm going to go to the A11 to keep in context with the dealer plate that we just got done doing. This is another dealer plate amendment.
All right, thank you, Senator Howe. Senator Howe offers the A11, if you could describe it while it comes around.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And this came up because it was a constituent of mine that had a dealer plate, and what happened was this allows folks to have an extended period of time when their vehicle is getting repaired, that type of thing, and it just allows them a little bit longer time to have a dealer plate while they're getting their vehicle repaired, that type of thing. So it doesn't fall under the 72-hour rule, and it requires them to have a valid driver's license, proof of insurance, reason for use, and it's just a little bit different than your standard 72-hour dealer plate.
All right.
Allows them to have it for 14 days while their vehicle's getting repaired, that type of thing.
Very good. Thank you for that explanation. Questions, members, on the A11? All right, seeing none. All in favor of the A11, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
And then, Mr. Chair, if I could offer the A24 amendment.
Senator Howe offers the A24 amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this amendment has to do with the asset sustainability ratio targets. Is easy for me to say late in the day. So what this does is requires the Commissioner of Department of Transportation to calculate and report the ASR, the Asset Sustainable Availability Ratio for payments for each fiscal year. And what that will do is give us an easy chart to look at to see if our payment ratios are going in the right direction. So a payment ratio of more than 1 says you're adding life to the system, and a payment ratio of less than 1 shows you're going in the wrong direction and your assets are not increasing in survivability. So.
Great. Thank you for that. Any questions, members, or any further clarification, Senator Johnson-Stewart? I knew
Thank
you would.
you. Thank you, Senator Howe. I just want to add my support to this bill. I think it's, or this amendment, I think it's important, and it gives us a more rigorous way to determine how we're moving towards creating a more sustainable pavement system versus just smoothness, which is great, but we can overlay a crappy road and it's pretty smooth. So I think this is a really good idea, and I encourage a yes vote.
Thank you, Senator Johnson-Stewart. Anything further, members, questions or comments on the A24? All right. All of those in favor of the A24, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The motion carries. All right. Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to offer the A13 amendment, please.
Senator Farnsworth offers the A13. Senator Farnsworth, why don't you go ahead and describe it?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What this does is it appropriates $150,000 from the Airport Development and Assistance Fund for the McGregor Isidore Iverson Airport. They have to move their automated weather station. It's got to be a certain distance away from buildings, and they've been told that they need to do this, and a small airport like that, this is a pretty costly endeavor, and so they reached out and asked for some assistance in order to do that. So pretty simple amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Farnsworth. And this is from the Airport Assistance Fund, so it doesn't implicate our target, so I appreciate that. I'll just ask fiscal if we have the funds that we need in the relevant funds to support this request.
Mr. Chair and members, this amendment was written as part of the existing change item in the bill, so this is coming from the funds already in the bill.
So that's a yes.
So that's a yes.
All right, very good. Excellent.
Like an earmark.
Mr. Chair.
A community request. Senator Johnson-Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Farnsworth, I totally am in favor of these kinds of things, and I know $150,000 isn't a lot of money. My question is this something that MnDOT is in favor of? Are they, is this something that MnDOT's been consulted on? I guess I would offer that question.
Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, this was a pretty recent request that I had from the community, and I didn't actually even think to check with MnDOT, so no.
Senator Johnson-Stewart.
Thank you. And Senator Farnsworth, again, I'm in favor of these kinds of things, and I understand how they happen. I would just recommend that MnDOT be included. I assume this has to go through them to get the reimbursement, yes? So then maybe it's a non-issue, but just bringing it up as a concern. Thank you, but I'll
Thank you.
still vote for it.
All right, thank you, Senator Johnson Stewart. Anything further, members, on the A13? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you, Senator
Senator?
Farnsworth. Senator Johnson Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have 3 amendments. We'll go quick here. The first is the A39.
Senator Johnson Stewart offers the A39.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the A39 was heard in taxes this morning. This is, I believe, and it was heard before this committee as well. It's been re-referred back to the transportation from taxes, and what it does is it increases the surcharge for electric vehicles for registration from $75 a year to $200, and in this bill, all of the proceeds from this surcharge will go directly into the Highway User Tax Fund. Oh, Tax Distribution Fund, sorry. That's it.
Thank you. Questions, members, on the A39? This has been before this committee previously, so it's that same bill. Senator Nelson heard it this morning as well in taxis.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Johnson Stewart. I appreciate this, and we've been working on this for a while, so it's good to get this. I think it obviously gets money into our HUTDF funds, and that fee has been low for many, many years, so appreciate it, and I will support the amendment.
And I appreciate all the bipartisanship and the work that Senator Howe has done. He presented 2 bills this morning and added to a great conversation and discussion we had in taxes this morning. Senator Howe? Oh.
No.
Oh, all right. You look like you were ready to go. Okay. All right. Anything further or questions, members, on the A39? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going too fast. I'm sorry. Make sure that our online folks had their opportunity to vote. I think they did. Opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Senator Johnson Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next one, the next amendment is the A32 amendment.
Senator Johnson Stewart offers the A32 amendment.
So members, the A32 amendment came to me from the Minnesota Council on Airports, a group that I've been working with for many, many decades. And what it does is it accounts for the fact that the State Airports Fund can only incur a maximum or cannot have more than $3 million in it. And that State Airports Fund is continuing to increase. Bill Towle from St. Cloud Airport asked if I could look into this. I talked to MnDOT and asked council if they could help us out here by making money that's already targeted for general aviation airports, if we could do something in the bill. So if Ms. Boyd could explain it a little bit better than me. I feel good about this because I think even $3 million does another project on a general aviation airport, and so I would encourage a yes. But Ms. Boyd, if you think you might have something to add, I would encourage your addition.
Ms. Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I don't have much more to add. It's a simple $3 million increase to the airport development appropriation in the bill from the State Airports Fund in fiscal year 26. That would be a one-time bump, and then go back down to base funding, or not base funding, there is a change item in the bill, but go back down to the regular funding in the amendment for out years.
And
Senator Johnson Stewart.
thank you, Ms. Boyd. My understanding is this does not impact Senator Dibble's targets or anything, right? Or does it?
Mr. Chair, no, it would not affect the target at all. This would just be from the State Airport Fund.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any questions on the A32? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you, members. I look forward to helping general aviation airports across the state in the future as well, because they're important for our economy. The next amendment, I'm going to slow down a little bit here. This one is the A37.
Senator Johnson Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this one has to do with what we call resilient pavement. I know we don't have a lot of time, but anybody who wants to talk to me about this, I'd love to talk to you about it more. What this does is it allows some funding, in this case $10 million, for MnDOT to consider a higher design life in a trunk highway project. And members, the way I can explain this is just anecdotally. Who I really think of this benefiting are the small towns across Minnesota that have a trunk highway as their main street. Typically, our design standards call for a 20 or 30-year design, which I'm all in favor of, generally speaking. But if we can provide some extra money for MnDOT to use when appropriate, it's not just a blanket appropriation, but we allow them to have some objectivity about how to use this money, I would see this as helping those small communities with the trunk highway as their downtown, for example, be able to incorporate a more expensive design that might last 50 years, resulting in less disruption to the downtown. Again, that's just one of many examples, but what this does is it allows MnDOT to selectively apply some extra funding in areas where going from, let's say, a 20-year design to a 50-year design might be a very good use of extra pavement. So again, it's a pretty technical thing. I could talk about it for a long time. I would welcome your questions, but it just allows MnDOT, again, to selectively apply some increased funding to increase the pavement life, which in my opinion could be most useful in areas where we want to minimize disruption and some of those unwritten costs or unofficial costs, things like disruptions to downtown business, et cetera.
Thank you, Senator Johnson-Stewart. I have Senator Jasinski first, and then I'll call on Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Senator Johnson. I'm even a real estate broker, and I even understand how the importance of this works. So I've had the folks in our office. I think the concrete people and the blacktop people agree on this. I think the House has it in their bill. I think it's a good tool to use. Again, that disruption, we'll have another amendment coming later about, you know, disrupting businesses and what that does. This is an important thing, and I think it's good. So I support it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Nelson.
Thank you. I also appreciate this amendment. It's looking forward instead of trying to rectify problems that we see in the rearview mirror. So I think this is a positive thing. I just have one question, and that is, if this is oversubscribed in some way, what is the ranking, or how is MnDOT going to determine, like, I might think that this should go to a small town in my district, but maybe they're all going up to that Arrowhead district or something. What's the mechanism for best allocating these probably scarce funds?
So, Mr. Chair, can I go?
Senator Johnson-Stewart.
Thank you, Senator Nelson, an excellent question. And generally speaking, there is a criteria and there's an equation that helps them determine it. So if you turn to page 2, line 216, for example, well, this is really included in subdivision 4. There is a method by which the MnDOT will take a look at the traditional pavement design, the cost, and the design life of that, and then they will take a look at an added value of a more resilient pavement, and the criteria is listed here. So it's actually something that's pretty easy to calculate, and I would assume that MnDOT will say those values with a higher, I can't remember what the term is, but there is cost effectiveness ratio would be higher on the eligibility list. And if, I know if Dan LeBeau or anybody is here and wants to correct me, but I believe that it's based on that equation, and that's how things would be ranked. Excellent question, Senator Nelson.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Johnson-Stewart, I think this is something that we need to look at expanding and using as a constant as we start this program. We should look forward to maybe making this a requirement for everything, but we need to work on that. I think that's a very important process, and we should continue to go down that road. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to
Thanks,
say one other
Senator
thing.
Johnson.
So unofficially, this will really reduce the amount of iterations of construction. I mean, some of us, I travel on 35 a lot up to Duluth. Seems like that dang pavement is always under construction. So what my vision is that this would allow for a longer and we know how many loads before a specific pavement section fails, so we can assume that over 20 years or 30 years or 40 years or 50 years. And so my real intent here is to stretch out for more money, because it's not free, but for more money, stretch out that iterative correction. And so I appreciate your forward thinking on this. And again, this would be something that we're going to start with and we'll continue. Looks like do we have a testifier?
All right, I do have Senator Lang on the list. Looks like some people want to shed some light on this matter, which it's not a hearing, but if we can illuminate us, come forward, Ms. Bryduck, Mr. Rudin. All right.
I thought Senator Lang first.
All right. Please.
Oh,
all right.
Sorry.
Welcome, Mr. Rudin.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Eric Rudin, MnDOT Government Affairs. And I'm not a pavement engineer, but we did meet with the concrete industry a couple of weeks ago, and our pavement folks do not believe that the denominator, if I remember back to my high school math, the way this language is written, does not believe we can implement it as currently written. So I just want to flag that for the committee, and if I may take the liberty just to remind the committee that, we absolutely agree pavements are important, but there is one pot of money, and so if we're doing more on pavements, that will mean we're doing less on bridges, we're doing less on culverts and other things. So absolutely we should be doing more long-term pavements, but that does have consequences throughout the program.
Thank you, Mr. Rudin. Senator Johnson-Stewart.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Rudin. I would hope that we have the flexibility to get that right. And so if I'm an error in the denominator, I very much would welcome feedback from the materials office or whoever the current pavement engineer is right now. But that's something I'd be very interested in talking about.
Great. Ms. Bryduck?
Yes, thank you. My name is Abby Bryduck. I'm the director of the Minnesota Asphalt Pavement Association, and I just wanted to be clear on the record that we have not agreed on this language. With asphalt and concrete, there are some tweaks that we'd like to see to make it be more a materials neutral bill so that both materials could compete for these long-term projects. So we also indicated some concerns about the equation. So we did have a few amendments that we've been passing around that would make it, I think, a more fair bill, more materials neutral, that we'd like to see it have added if it moves forward.
Thank you. Senator Lang. All right. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, I'm concerned now because I thought that we kind of had peace in the valley on this. I thought the blacktop and the concrete people agreed on it. So if there's a tweak that we need to make, I would hope we can get that done before we actually get it approved, because I had heard that everybody was in line with it and we kind of had peace in the valley. So if we need to get back together to make sure we have that, I'd appreciate doing that.
Yes.
Senator Johnson-Stewart.
Thank you. And again, we are trying to get that agreement, and my bad if I assumed that we had gotten there, but I'm deeply immersed in industry, and I will commit to Ms. Bryduck and the others to make sure that we get this right, because we don't want to do something that's not moving us in the direction that we want to be in. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right. Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I think I have the solution. I think if you would consider a friendly amendment to turn this into a pilot project where the money is spent in the taconite assistance area, I think everybody will be happy with that.
I have feedback.
We're all one Minnesota so long it's at the Iron Range.
Senator Farnsworth, just some feedback. We've been studying how to use more taconite in our pavements for decades, so let's have coffee and we'll discuss. But I reject that.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Jasinski.
Senator Thomasoni would be so proud right now.
Oh, yeah. He's here with us. All right. All right. Anything further on the A37? All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. Senator Johnson Stewart, I think actually you have the A42 as well to celebrate your first bill signing. We'll be taking out the language of your first ever bill signed by a governor. So.
Yes, thank you, Senator. I didn't know how that worked, but guess what? You guys have got my first bill signed today.
So Senator
The
Johnson Stewart
animal,
was
the implements of animal husbandry.
Yes. So Senator Johnson Stewart, in celebration of her first ever, I think she's actually going to get one of the signing pens as well, and she's going to put it in a little frame, put it on her wall. She offers the A42 to delete those sections that are now the law of the land.
Law.
So we don't need to repass them. Any questions?
Mr. Chair,
Senator?
congratulations, Senator Johnson Stewart.
Thank you. I will be
Yes.
forever known as that lady with the animal husbandry.
Congratulations to Senator Johnson Stewart. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, members. Senator Lang.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have the A7 amendment.
Senator Lang offers the A7. And please describe it as it comes around.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This has to do with Senator Fateh's Senate File 1817 language when it comes to the Public Policy Advisory Committee and the Met Council. Surprisingly to me, it was not subject to the open meeting law. So all that this amendment does is make it subject to the open meeting law.
All right. So, it's in the packets? Oh, coming around.
A7.
All right, here we are. Okay. So, all right. Mike, Senator Lang, have you had any conversation with Senator Fateh?
No, Mr. Chair, I have not.
All right.
I have not. Yeah, I just was advised of this, and I thought, well, probably makes sense to have it subject to the open meeting law, like all the other Met Council meetings or our meetings are. So,
all right, thank you. Questions, members? Senator McCune.
Thank you very much. This is an interesting addition, and I would think that I would normally be supporting this. I have some questions about how it would be applied to the participants who are on the policy advisory. Would it just apply as to the official members of the policy advisory committee, like those citizens that are appointed to it? So if other members of the public are actually really active and wanting to meet with members of that committee, because sometimes there's a lot of community involvement in a public advisory committee, maybe, one group of people, but then there's maybe dozens of other people who are really actively involved. I just worry about, restrictions on meetings of the general public who are trying to work on an issue. So the open meeting law really is to make sure that official, like, government meetings are open and accessible to the public and transparent, which is fantastic. I just don't want to curb meetings by citizens who are just involved tangentially. So, yeah. Maybe the council, I don't know if there's an answer to that right now. Thanks.
Mr. Greenfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee and Senator McEwen. I'd have to check exactly because I'm not entirely familiar with the parameters of the open meeting law, but as I'm reading 13D01, I believe there may already be a case that a policy advisory committee would be subject to the open meeting law as a executive branch committee under subdivision 1, paragraph C, clause 1, but I could be corrected on that by a colleague, and I'll do some checking on that and let the committee know.
All right. Members, my response is, or initial reaction is that this is generally probably a good idea. Always appreciate a conversation ahead of time with the author and the chair, but this is sounds like a kind of good government, open government matter. If it's already operative, it does no harm. And, I'll commit to speaking with Senator Fate between now and Finance, or maybe invite Senator Lang to do so. Any further questions on the A7? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. All right. Senator Lang.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. And I do have the A8 as well.
Senator Lang offers the A8. Go ahead and describe it as it comes around.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the A8 is part of a larger group of bills that really what it does is repealing the DVS Oversight Committee. If everybody has a rather stark recollection of the conversation we had around MNLARs, this group was constituted from that. The problem is, or the good problem that we have is that they don't meet anymore. They haven't met in almost 4 years. So this is one of many of the groups that we could repeal and get them off the books. So.
All right. If I could invite DPS to come forward and help us understand a little better, if you don't mind, Senator Lang. All right. Welcome, Director Zhang or Pang. Please introduce yourself and just help us understand what this entity is and whether or not it continues to have any utility.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pang Zhang, Director of the Driver Vehicle Services Division. As Senator Lang described, it was a committee that was brought together as part of the decommissioning of the MNLARS program. That program has since been decommissioned, and we have been operating on MnDrive since, and Senator Lang is correct in that we haven't pulled that group back together because there is no longer any business to conduct.
So, Director Zhang, is this something that the agency has proposed? Or, I mean, usually when we have obsolete, defunct entities, part of your cleanup bills and your agency bills include this sort of cleanup. Did we miss it? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is not something that DVS had flagged for this for cleanup, but we certainly see the rationale for cleaning it up.
All right, very good. Thanks. Questions, members? All right.
Mr. Chair,
Senator Jasinski.
I think Dave Frazier might have had some information on this, and I think that's maybe why we're seeing it. So just guessing. So I support the amendment.
The long invisible finger of Dave Frazier. All right. All in favor of? Yes, we should subpoena him. Get him in front of this committee and explain himself. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you, Senator Lang. Members, Senator Nelson.
One more.
Oh,
sorry, one more.
Why don't we let Senator Lang finish his? Senator Lang.
I have the A29 amendment, Mr. Chair.
Senator Lang offers the A29.
And as it's being passed out, this is part of a bill that I've carried kind of probably for about 3 years on and off, and it's just, and thank you, Senator Johnson Stewart, for your discussion on this as well. This is a definition clarification is the way I would probably describe it, as bulk aggregate materials. It starts really on lines 1.10 and goes to 1.13. We've been running into issues where whatever the aggregate material is and where it's going has been called into question, and this just clarifies that.
All right, thank you, Senator Lang. Questions, members, on the A29?
Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry, who just asked?
Me.
Oh, Senator Johnson Stewart.
Do other people have input? Okay. So I did talk to Senator Lang about this earlier, being relatively new, as demonstrated on the floor today, and not always knowing the background. I just want to offer up that it does seem to me that bulk aggregate materials are you can't make concrete or asphalt concrete without them. So I don't know enough about the history to weigh in 100%, but I totally concur with this. And we'll look forward to getting more history. But I appreciate Senator Lang's depth of knowledge here, and we'll trust his explanation, I guess.
And Mr. Chair.
Senator Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my intention is to withdraw this, but before I do that, I'd like to have Mr. Lee possibly testify and give a little in-depth clarification.
Certainly, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for letting me speak to this amendment. So just to add a little more background on this, this is something that was put into law in 2017. It was something that—
Mr. Lee, please introduce yourself.
I'm sorry. Darren Lee with the Aggregate and Ready Mix Association. I apologize. This is something that was put into law at first in 2017. It was worked on by Representative Torkelson and Senator Newman. And it was one of those deals where it got put into a bill at the end of session. The language didn't quite work. So it's a road construction materials special permit. But the intention wasn't that it would have to, the end use of the materials would have to be on a road construction project necessarily. And so for a few years, people started to apply for these permits, upgrade their trucks to 6-7 axles to go above 80,000. And then starting around 2021, there was issues with folks getting pulled over, drivers getting pulled over and being questioned as to where this material was going. The driver doesn't necessarily know where the material's going. It's going from the excavation site where he's picking it up, taking it to the production facility. From there, it could go to any number of projects. So the only way for the permit to actually work with the way it's being enforced is you would have to separate the load on the truck and say, we're gonna mix this separately, and that's gonna go to a road project. We're gonna mix this separately for projects that are not road projects. So what you have is a statute that's basically not functional or operational. And so the intent of this amendment is to fix this statute so that drivers and companies that have applied for these permits and have these permits, I understand there's about 1,000 of these permits that are out there and they're not enforceable, so they're just either not getting stopped or they're just not saying where the materials are going. And so that's what this amendment is getting at. So thank you for letting me speak to it.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. This has been a work in progress, and from my perspective, I go back on having quite a few conversations in my office about this, and you and I have spoken about it. I'll ask. My request was that we work it out with other major stakeholders in the room. Namely the folks who represent those who are doing a lot of this work, and haven't yet heard that there's agreement. For my part, from the way this bill was first represented to me when it was brought to me, I think I was even maybe a co-author on it, at least was in a supportive posture, and then its purposes seem to change, and that still hasn't been reconciled for me, that original representation. Not accusing anyone of anything, I'm just saying this is how I understood it, and maybe the fault is on my side, but it feels like it's has quite a few more implications than I originally understood. Where I originally understood it was fairly discreet, and transporting these materials to where they're needed fairly close by, and it feels like those limitations were completely lifted. And so that's where I'm having some issues. I think we can probably work it out, but I just feel like it needs to, we really do kind of all maybe need to be in a room, Senator Lang, myself, you, the Teamsters, Department of Transportation, to really work through the questions and the issues to see if we can arrive at a solution. Because I understand what you're saying, some of the practical problems, but I worry about the implications and that we're doing something that doesn't quite meet the eye.
Yeah, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I would love to sit down with you and work on this with MnDOT. I think MnDOT has some suggested language that could tighten it up, and I think Mr. Greenfield could work on that and get it to a spot. We don't want to be able to do anything that we're not already trying to do. And, you know, a lot of these are short trips because it's in an interest to keep it a short trip because it's very expensive to move this stuff. And so that's our intent. Would love to work it out.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lee. I don't know if anyone else wanted to share any other perspectives, as long as we allowed the advocates. All right, with that, Senator Lang.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and with that, I appreciate the conversation, and I'll withdraw the 29.
Thanks, and my commitment is to you to continue this conversation. I will convene those conversations and make them happen. Thank you, Senator Lang. All right, members, Senator Nelson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have the A25 amendment. Has that been handed out?
We'll request it to come around. I don't think it has, but go ahead and start describing
Sure.
it while it comes around.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee, the A25 is a nice little acknowledgement of something that we recently enacted, which has been working fantastic, even over and above what was anticipated. And I'm talking about the blackout plates from DVS. You probably see them all over. And the fact of the matter is, there's that $30 fee for those blackout plates, and it's been a huge success. Actually, there's about $7 to $8 million this year that is something that I think we could all think of places where that needs to be. It's in the DVS operating account, but that's very healthy, well-funded, and I just think it would be wise if we were able to transfer that money to the Highway User Tax Distribution Fund, a place that we typically have way more oversubscribed needs than we have dollars for. And so that is my amendment. If you're interested, you can see the Star Tribune had an article this week talking about how incredibly popular these plates are.
So thank you, Senator Nelson. To the A25, questions from members? All right, Senator Nelson, I appreciate the A25 and the conversation, and I know this was I think this was a bill. Was it yours or someone's bill? So I'm familiar with folks seeing the success of the blackout plates and having lots of ideas of how to use those resources. I will oppose the A25. I think that Driver and Vehicle Services, Department of Public Safety, as we've heard on many occasions, there's a lot of demands that they're trying to meet, and I think we're trying to work with them and partner with them to meet some of those, not the least of which is improving their service profile with respect to testing facilities and other kind of direct services that they provide to the motoring public. I think we would have some opportunity to really, now that there's a little bit of elbow room in that Driver and Vehicle Services operating account, to really make a good plan for, first, how to use those funds for that purpose. Also, I'll just mention that the revenue note, the revenue estimate, not in this biennium, but in the next biennium for the electric vehicle surcharge that Senator Johnson Stewart has brought to us, I think improves the position of the Highway User Tax Distribution Fund in the next biennium by about $30 million a year. So we're doing pretty good by the HUTDF, plus it's doing pretty well with the results and the receipts of the last biennial finance bill that we passed. So appreciate and I want to continue having the conversation. Maybe there's enough room, but I want to be a little more thoughtful about how we're going to support DVS and DPS in the work they do to serve the public. Thank you. Senator Nelson.
So, Mr. Chair, I did forget to mention, just to give some numbers, the estimated sales were 160,000. You probably know this. The public might not, but we're not even through the year yet, and actual sales are 249,000. So I think we've got a winner here. I think this is a good thing. I didn't expect opposition, but I do appreciate the consideration. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will withdraw the A25, but look forward to the Highway User tax distribution fund being very well funded.
Great.
So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. I actually have a blackout plate on my car. And it's a vanity plate too, so we're like giving tons of money to DPS. Yeah. All right, members, comments or amendments? Senator Hurt.
Mr. Chair, sorry I come a little late, but have you heard the A17 amendment yet? Or
I'm sorry, which?
the A17, or is this a?
Oh, why don't you offer the A41? It's a
A41.
variation on the A17. It's
Okay.
a little bit better. I'll
Okay.
help you explain it if you want.
Yep. I
So,
call for the
Senator Hurt will offer the
A41.
A41.
I don't have it here, but.
All right. All right, so Senator Hur, just to know what you're doing here. So what this does is has the elements of, I think what was actually the A18, which incorporated all of the aspects of the A17 that we had in front of us yesterday, which adds to some of the elements that MnDOT would do vis-a-vis their business liaison for planned construction in relationship and interfacing with the businesses that would be affected. So kind of adding to the kinds of things that we would ask from MnDOT is for the liaison to inform affected businesses of potential programs and assistance they might access through DEED, the Small Business Administration, other kinds of community development, financial institutions, and to help them apply for that assistance if it's appropriate for them, and then bolster some of the elements of the construction communication plan, which you can read there, identifying methods to distribute project information, procedures to distribute notices, more information about the project, schedules and milestones, et cetera. And then we also have, the tornado sirens going off are a drill, everyone. So, and then what we do, the conversation we had yesterday on the local business construction impacts assistance program, all of those parts in terms of the details of the elements of implementation were just kind of chopped off, and we kind of let that rest for the time being. We start the process of taking a look at developing a program. We did include transitways, by the way, because major construction of BRT on these commercial corridors is quite disruptive. And then we asked the commissioner to start the process of developing and establishing a program, but a lot of the details around how much and sources and who gets paid and all those elements of implementation we leave for a future conversation. Members, the goal is to get what we call the proverbial placeholder into this bill so that we can continue this conversation on into the remainder of the process, finance floor and conference committee. Maybe identify some resources, either inside or outside, whatever makes sense of project funds, probably outside. I think we all agree some of the limitations of our constitutionally dedicated sources. We'll probably have that conversation in a few minutes. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish with the A41.
Mr. Chair. Go ahead, Senator.
Senator Hur.
Okay, I'll hear you say first.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Hur. This addresses kind of the issues we brought up the other day. Again, I said I approve of the process or the issue, but I didn't like with the money and some of those things and how it was distributed. So I think all that's been addressed here. So thank you, and thanks Senator Dibble for that. And with that changes, I can support this. So thank you.
Thank you. Senator Hur?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Senator Jasinski and Senator Dibble, especially for helping me with the language on this bill. It may not give immediate support to my district as they needed help now, but at least my district can be an example for us to take the first step. And there's some sacrifice that will be happening, but at least, in the future when this construction road closes somewhere, we have a plan. So thank you for working with me on this and providing me with more material to make sure that the language is constructing in a real robust way, and that also gained Senator Jasinski and member of the other aisle support as well. So appreciate it and ask for your support.
Senator, I would not give up hope. I haven't given up hope on figuring out if we can find some resource. I know Senator Kroon has an issue that's emerging in his district as well. I don't know why I waved over in that direction. You kind of look like Senator Kroon. And I have one. There's a few others. So if we can figure something out between now and then, identify some resources, we'll try to do that. But at least we're kind of setting the stage for a conversation going forward for the rest of this session. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further on the A41 members? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, members. Senator McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have the A5 amendment.
Senator McEwen offers the A5 amendment. And Senator McEwen, you can just start describing it as it comes around.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The A5 amendment adds some additional items into what can be considered as a appropriate purpose for the Trunk Highway Fund. And so part of the amendment that I'm pretty excited about is also being able to consider multimodal infrastructure within a highway right-of-way, but related also to transit, active transportation, and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. So I think that it's really important for us when we're talking about transportation, and I know, Mr. Cherry, you've talked about sort of this principle a number of times in committee and lead in this way, just as viewing our transportation system as more of a system, and that the purposes for which we are here today in this committee and for which we allocate funding from the people to facilitate a good transportation system should really be more holistic than just laying concrete for cars all the time, over and over and over again. This amendment is really geared toward making sure that it's very clear in our laws that our purposes around our transportation system are a little more than sort of an old school shallow view about facilitating the movement of cars. And I respectfully ask for your support.
Thank you, Senator McEwen, for the A5. Questions, members? Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know you're going to look at me first because this is something that I've been fighting for a long time, going back to Senator Newman, as we would call leakage. This is concerning opening it up to transit. This is constitutionally dedicated funds that are being collected, and this is a pretty substantial change to that policy that we have in place. I think when people voted on that, they voted that for roads and bridges. We have other funds for transit and active transportation, but actually taking out of the Highway User Tax Distribution Fund would be very concerning to me. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I believe we're $1 billion short, or $0.9 billion short every single year for our roads and bridges. Most of them are rated a D or a D plus or C minus, whatever it was, close to there. So to open this up and use these funds for other things in roads and bridges would be very, very concerning to me. So I would ask members to vote against it. And I'm going to ask for a roll call.
Thank you, Senator Jasinski. A roll call has been requested. A roll call will be granted. Further, Senator Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm going to echo Senator Jasinski's words. I tell you what, if we were flush in our HUTDF and we've got roads doing well and we've got bridges that don't need to be replaced, we could look at something. But right now, we've got a number of bridges and that are in a state of disrepair. Our roads are struggling to get paved. We have a number of projects out there that are waiting to get funded. I don't know why we would spend this and dilute the pool of where we're going to spend this money. So I think that's not a wise thing to do at this period of time. If sometime in the future we end up plush in that account, then we can start looking at other projects and adding things in. But right now, we can't keep the boat afloat now. And so I won't be supporting this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anything further, members? Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I cannot support this amendment either. We just have a huge backlog. We're trying to find more money to keep our roads and bridges in safe usage and help with some of those traffic snarls. We know that multimodal transportation can help, but there are different funding streams for that, and I believe we just need to keep the highway user tax distribution fund for what it was designed for, so roads and bridges. So I will be voting no.
Thank you. Anything further, members? So Senator McEwen and actually, Senator, if you wouldn't mind waiting,
Sure.
I'll give you the last word.
Sure.
I was going to speak in favor of the A5. Senator Drzezinski and I agree by about a factor of 75%, and there might be some things in the A5 that I don't completely support using from the Trunk Highway Fund. So it's it's not perfect in every way, but where we do perhaps part company is really understanding transportation corridors as transportation corridors for all users and that serve the entire community. And so when we're talking about solving transportation needs, we're not just talking about more lanes, more asphalt, more pavement necessarily. We're talking about serving all people, and often, and more often than not, in a way more efficient way, moving a lot more people a lot more efficiently, and also creating the kind of transportation that creates more proximity. It induces and influences land use. The flip side is when you are only looking at roadway expansion to solve every problem, you're only looking at grade separations and giant intersections, you're inducing more driving, and you'll never get ahead of the game. So the highway, the road funding gap report we just saw presumes that future, presumes that we're just expanding capacity. It was a very illustrative report because it tells us we are never going to achieve that outcome. The level, think about it. About 20 years ago, we increased road sources by a factor of a third, and then 2023, we increased resources for roads and bridges by a little over another third. And we ended up with this gap report showing a deficit that was more than those increases, telling you that this is a hamster wheel that we're on. We need to start looking at the kinds of solutions that really serve the people in the state of Minnesota in the way they want to be served, in a way that's efficient and a way that we can, with a system and an infrastructure that we can keep up. And I will just conclude by saying we have the 4th largest roadway system by mileage of any state in the country. The only 3 states that have more road miles than Minnesota, and I'm not talking on a per capita basis or any sort of metric that weights that metric, it's on a per mile basis, are California, Texas, and Illinois. We have a lot of roads. To be sure, we need to do capacity improvements in some areas, safety improvements, respond to those places where populations are coming, but if 1 million people are coming to the state in the next X number of years, they're going to come for all kinds of reasons, natural population growth, et cetera. We're never going to be able to build the roadway infrastructure to support 1 million more people and be able to maintain that roadway structure and keep up with it over the long term. So I think we need to start looking at solutions like this. Senator McEwen, final word.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I appreciate everybody's comments. And just the last thing I'll say is that what struck me is hearing about people's concerns is just the hierarchy that exists in the way that we move around. It is just so clear to so many people that the car reigns supreme. And what we have heard is, you know, as soon as we take care of all the needs for getting cars around, then we could talk about, you know, making things better for transit, making things better in these other ways that people want to get around. We got a lot of people who either don't have a car, can't drive a car, and we're going to have more, to your point, Mr. Chair. And a lot of people who really, like myself, really resent more and more the burdens of being chained down to having a car and having it be an absolute necessity. I'm just going to drive back to Duluth tonight on that freeway that we were talking about, and I couldn't help but think as I contemplate my drive, I do recognize that there is always construction on 35 going north, it seems, and south, and it would be nice if it was smoother, but it would also sure be nice if we had a train. Yes, it would be nice if we had another choice. So really, really tired of having to pay all the costs of a car and maintaining that car and driving everywhere all the time. So thank you. Ask for your support.
Thank you, Senator McEwen. The clerk will take the roll.
Chair Dibble?
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson-Stewart?
Yes.
Senator Jasinski?
No.
Senator Carlson?
Yes.
Senator Farnsworth?
No.
Senator Herr?
Yes.
Senator Howe? Senator Lang?
No.
Senator McEwen?
Yes.
Senator Nelson?
No.
Senator Paugh?
Yes.
Thank you. With 6 voting yes and 5 voting no, the amendment passes. All right, members, I will pass the gavel to Senator Johnson-Stewart for just a minute. You can just stay there. You can just stay there. All right. All right, what do I have?
Oh, all right.
So I would like to offer my list has gotten hard to, so I'll offer the A4 amendments.
Senator Dibble offers the A4 amendment. Senator Dibble.
So members, the A4 amendment is the contents of a bill that's offered by Senator Green, with whom I'm very close. And I also happen to be, and actually, interestingly, Senator Carlson, not the Senator Carlson who's here, but John Carlson, who used to be with us, is a county commissioner, and former Senator Skoye brought this issue to my attention, similar to Senator Jasinski's issue in Medford. Is trying to address a speed limit issue that's cropped up in their part of the world. And I won't repeat and reprise that whole conversation that we had, but it's similar to that. We have some speed limits that are being enacted that are not proper to their setting, and hopefully this will drive a discussion. I don't know if this is going to actually become law, but I want to at least spark a discussion with the folks in state aid and MnDOT, et cetera, and try to address the issues that the residents up there are bringing to us. So I would encourage a positive support for the A4.
Thank you, Senator Dibble. Members, any questions on the A4? Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the amendment for Senator Green. We did do this for Medford, and actually were successful, and the county decided to change and make that change without going through the process. I know this is concerning to MnDOT because it opens up a precedent. We'll be getting a lot of these, so I understand their concern as well. So I would urge us to support it, to drive that conversation, to make sure and take input from the locals on what your speed limits are. If it's a school or whatever it may be, I think they should be giving the input from the locals on what they need for a speed limit. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Jasinski. Any other comments from members? Senator Dibble, I have a question. I assume the Beltrami County engineer is aware?
Senator Johnson-Stewart, I assume so too. I don't know that for a fact, but I was contacted by a county commissioner from Beltrami County in favor of this.
All right. Any other comments? All right. With that, members, all those in favor of the A4, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh, all those opposed? All right, motion carries. The A4 is adopted.
All right. Madam Chair, I'd like to offer the A40
A40.
amendment.
All right, Senator Dibble, to your amendment.
I will ask council, it's a technical amendment to help us understand it.
Okay,
For,
members, it's being
fiscal.
passed out right now.
All right.
Looks like we're spending $2,000.
Mr. Chair, members, this is actually not a change to spending. It's correcting a base amount that's correctly reflected in the spreadsheet now, but this is a base for to incorporate the additional staff for the new State Patrol aircraft purchase that's in the bill.
All right. Members, any questions? Did everybody hear Ms. Boyd's explanation? Okay, any questions? All right, thank you, Senator Dibble. Senator Dibble moves the A40. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The A40 is adopted. Senator Dibble.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Oh. Do you want me to close out the meeting, or is there other amendments?
You can ask the committee if they have anything further.
Committee members, including those online, does anybody have any other amendments for this evening? Anybody have a reason to get going? All right, with that, I think we're done. And so,
Madam Chair.
yes.
Again, I just want to reiterate, thanks Senator Dibble and the committee for a good year going through bills and being very fair about getting our hearing for our bills as well as both parties. That's a very good way to run a committee, I think, and you've done a very good job of that, so we really do appreciate that and cannot say enough of how much we do appreciate that. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Senator Jasinski. I would agree. This has been a really enjoyable process, and I like hearing everybody's feedback. So, Senator Dibble, do you want to move the bill, or do you want me to do it?
I'll move the bill, Madam Chair. So I would move that Senate File 2082 as amended. Oh, please say that into the microphone, and then I'll just say what you said.
Mr. Chair, we should move the adoption of the A2 as amended by all the amendments, since these have all been underlying amendments to the DE.
Okay, thank you. So I would move the A2 amendment as amended be adopted.
All right, Senator Dibble moves the A2 as amended be adopted. Any comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The A2 as amended is adopted.
And
Senator
so,
Dibble.
Madam Chair, and I'll ask council to make sure that my motion is thorough because we have some additional niceties we should put into the motion. So I would move that Senate File 2082 as amended be recommended to pass, referred to the Committee on Finance, and that staff be directed to
make any necessary technical corrections.
Make any necessary technical corrections. That's my motion.
All right, lovely. Senator Dibble moves that the Senate File 2082 as amended be referred to Finance, and the staff have the ability to figure out any little details. How's that sound?
Perfect.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Oh,
Thank you.
And then, Madam Chair, let me just also reflect my gratitude for everyone on this committee, and of course, my friendship and working relationship with Senator Jasinski. I love this committee, and I love everyone on it, and I love the process that we go through of deliberation and debate, even when we disagree. I think we learn a lot from each other, and I think we're an example to the Senate and to the public, and so I think we should be proud of this work product and proud of how we do our work, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Thank you.
Agreed. All right. And with that, we are adjourned.